What in a rewatch of last night, was there anything that stood out to you particularly?
I mean, I like the way we closed the game. I thought Wiggs was huge for us. He challenged a shot from Jokic, a turnaround in the lane that the play probably went unnoticed. People probably thought Jokic just missed the shot, but Wiggs almost blocked it, and that forced a higher arc on the shot. He missed it, and we got the rebound. It was a huge play. Box out from Clay. Obviously, the steal by Draymond and some big plays from a lot of different people, but just the detail down the stretch was really important for us. And I think Wiggs has been so good. I think the thing that I noticed is that we got three guys averaging 25 points a game and taking a lot of shots, and so Wiggs has just kind of settled into a role where he understands, like, I'm not going to get as many shots. Fine, I'm going to defend. I'm going to rebound. And he made huge plays down the stretch, including the offensive board. So, a lot of good stuff happening, and Wiggs is right in the middle of it.
Specifically, what do you think has been the key to his rebounding numbers lately?
He's just going to get it. I mean, the floor is really spread, and we got shooters everywhere. So, like the offensive rebounder that he got with a few minutes left. The defense is stretched out because they're worried about Steph and Clay and Jordan, and a lot of space in there to race in and grab one. And then at the defensive end, he's just really putting his mind to it and getting back near the rim to get whatever's left over there.
Seems like rebounding numbers. He had 6 rebounds last night. The effort is really noticeable. Is that kind of a conversation with him?
I think he's just, he understands what his role is on this team, and it doesn't mean he's not going to have big scoring nights. I think we're going to find as we go that the more attention people pay to our 3 guards, the more room there's going to be for Wiggs to attack, and that's coming. We literally haven't played that lineup all year, so to finally have these games where we can play that lineup with Draymond at 5, Wiggs at 4, I think we're going to learn stuff every game. But for now, Wiggs is understanding how important it is to rebound and defend in order to help us win.
Well, there was a few plays down the stretch. There was one, Gordon hit the corner 3, but like Jordan Poole hightailed it from the other wing to close out, and he jumped in front of I think it was Bones Highland trying to draw a charge. You could see him doing the things you've probably been trying to get him to do all year. Jordan, yeah, the hustle and getting mixed in. Is that something that jumped out to you on film?
Yeah, I think the defense in the first few games of the series from Jordan has been really good. He had a couple fouls last night that he's got to avoid. Where I think he hooked Jeff Green late. I thought Green might have got him tangled up first, but Jordan grabbed him around the waist, and that's a bad habit that he's got to avoid. But for the most part, he's been taking on the challenge. He's hustling. He's really making his rotations and standing up to ball handlers and penetrators. So he's doing a good job.
Gary's had quite the journey through the NBA. He was the last person on this roster, at the beginning of the season to being an impact on this playoff team. What have you just thought about his journey, and what's it like to see a guy just grind his way through and have the success he's had?
Well, it's great. He's been in the league, but he hasn't really stuck anywhere. And I think this is the place for him. We value what he brings to the team. He fits in perfectly with our roster. He's latched on to his minutes, and he hasn't looked back. Seems like every time we put him out there, something good happens. So, just really happy for him. You always appreciate the guys who have to swim upstream to make it, and he's had to swim a long way.
Was this a day off for your high minutes guys?
They got some shots up, and they're getting treatment and a lift, and so kind of a maintenance day.
Draymond tweaked the ankle. Jordan obviously had that forearm thing.
They're okay.
They're all fine.
Yeah.
What do you think's kind of been the key to Jordan and Draymond developing a
nice synergy.
Well, they've played together an awful lot, and I think when Steph went out, it forced Draymond and Jordan to have more of a connection together, the last few weeks of the season, because Jordan was playing more point guard, more on the ball. And then, Draymond almost wills Jordan into some of the actions that Draymond and Steph like. And so it's there's a little bit of teaching, but it's more just game experience and, sort of body language, like, hey, come off the screen, I'll flip the screen, back cut, I'll find you. All the same stuff that Steph and Draymond have been doing for years. Jordan is starting to learn that, and I think Draymond is kind of walking him through it.
The other thing I've noticed recently is he's kind of taken on leadership late in games at times. He sat in Jordan. He sat in your seat after you left the huddle once last night, and he addressed the team. What do you see as far as his leadership growth?
Well, I think it's almost impossible to be a leader until you've earned the respect of everybody. And when you do what he's done the last couple of months, the respect is there. So I think that's the key. When you're a young player and you haven't proven anything, it's really hard to have a voice. But what he's accomplished, over the last few months of the season, but especially here in the first 3 games of the series, all the older guys have huge respect for him, and so he's sort of elevated his own status amongst the team, and he earned it.
You didn't see him take your seat yet?
I did not, but I don't mind that at all. It's a little warm sometimes.
How do you explain Otto Porter always plus and then a big number?
I think Otto's one of those guys who just he's always in the right spot at both ends, so he's making the right rotations. He's a great screener. Sometimes you'll see Clay get a screen on the weak side. It's Otto who's the one pinning the defender in. So he has a great feel for the game. So even on a night like last night, where maybe he's not making his threes, he sneaks in for a couple layups, he gets rebounds, he makes the right rotation. He's just a really smart player, and guys who are smart with size, understand the game. They can play in any game.
Falling a little under the radar, but how big have Clay's points been in this series?
Well, we've needed them all. I mean, we're maybe a little top heavy with our scoring right now with our 3 guards, but that's also kind of the nature of this series and how we're trying to attack and how they're defending. Between Steph, Clay, and Jordan, there's a lot of ground to cover for the defense. So Clay's buckets have been a huge part of our success.
His shot seems to be in a really good place after, early in the season, or they just returned. It was hot night, cold night. It seems like, are you seeing this kind of a steady, consistent nature of his shooting right now?
Yeah, his legs are underneath him. He's got good balance, I think. And that's been the case for the last 3 or 4 weeks. So he just looks like he's in a good place.